Stunning case of matricide, how a wellness check led to a murder investigation where the daughter is accused of taking her own mother's life. Good afternoon. This is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. We begin with a murder investigation a week before Christmas, and what's catching the attention of many is that the woman being charged is accused of killing her mother. It happened at a home on County Road 2 in Leeds and the Thousand Islands Township, about an hour-and-a-half drive from downtown Ottawa. CTV's Katie Griffin is live with what we know about this investigation so far. Katie.
Well, Stefan, police say officers were asked by a concerned community member to do a wellness check on a woman Tuesday afternoon. When they arrived at the home, they found her dead. We now know the victim was a well-known retired professor from Carleton University. Police have identified the victim as 78-year-old Catherine Graham of Leeds and the Thousand Islands Township. Her daughter, who has the same name, 43-year-old Catherine Graham, is charged with first-degree murder. The victim worked for years at Carleton in the School of Public Policy and Administration. Her research focusing on local governance and Indigenous and Northern policy. She's also been recognized for her volunteer work in the Thousand Islands area. Here's more from police.
We don't believe there's anyone else involved in this, but we still have to continue collecting evidence and talking to witnesses. And as part of that, if anyone does have any information that could shed light on what took place prior to the killing, we want to hear from them.
Now, in a statement, Carleton writes Graham was a distinguished scholar, leader, and public servant whose career profoundly shaped the fields of public policy, local governance, community development, and Indigenous policy in Canada. Police say they can't speculate on motive. The victim's daughter remains in custody. She was arrested and charged yesterday, one day after her mother's body was discovered. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Leeds County OPP. Stefan.
CTV's Katie Griffin reporting live for us. Thank you, Katie. In other news, removing the red tape, Ontario's Premier and the feds are striking a deal that will help the province move projects along faster. That news broke this morning with the Premier coming to Ottawa to help make the announcement in person. CTV's Natalie Van Roy joins us live with more details. Natalie.
Stefan, the Premier announced he would be coming to Ottawa to attend a First Ministers meeting in person. But before any of that happened, we learned he was also here to sign a memorandum of understanding. Now, it's a promise to cooperate on environment and impact assessments. From what the Prime Minister and Premier have said, this deal means a cooperative effort to streamline the construction process of major projects. Now, for example, if the province has already done its due diligence on an environmental assessment of the federal government, it won't bother doing one of its own. So some may suggest it takes away federal oversight, but many argue it removes the redundancy. Now, here's how the Prime Minister describes it.
This agreement will speed up project approval timelines by introducing a new one project, one review approach. And under the agreement, Canada and Ontario will have a streamlined and flexible assessment process that will make approvals more efficient, delivering major projects faster while maintaining both federal and provincial standards.
Nowhere will the impact of this deal will be felt more immediately than in the development of the Ring of Fire.
Premier Ford says today's agreement is the last step in the plan to begin construction at the Ring of Fire this June. That project is a massive undertaking to create roads leading to new mining opportunities. The deal also includes an agreement between both levels of government that a review of the assessment of the roads to the Ring of Fire will be completed no later than June 2026. Now, this could be a big win for the Premier. His government is suggesting that the Ring of Fire project could add $22 billion to the economy. Stefan.
CTV's Natalie Van Roy reporting live for us. Thank you, Natalie. A pedestrian was struck in Vanier this morning and is now in hospital being treated for serious injuries. Police say it happened on MacArthur Avenue between La Fontaine and La Casse Avenues just before 10 a.m. The investigation into what led the vehicle to hit the woman is ongoing. The victim's injuries are not considered life-threatening. The Kingston doctor who vowed to take the province to court will have her case reviewed. Dr. Elaine Ma was asked to give back the $600,000 she charged OHIP during the pandemic. Dr. Ma billed the province for drive-through vaccine clinics she ran. She mobilized other physicians and medical students to help administer the vaccine. But the Ministry of Health came back and said it was an improper use of billing. Dr. Ma is disputing that claim, and the court has now agreed to a judicial review and has sent the case back to the board. In neighboring Quebec, the leader of that province's Liberal Party announced his resignation today.
I took this decision solely out of a sense of duty for my party, which I sincerely love, for Quebec, and for my country.
Pablo Rodriguez told reporters in Montreal he had become a distraction as the Liberals try to prepare for next year's election. He is stepping down amid allegations of wrongdoing, including vote buying during the leadership race he won in June. Rodriguez maintains he has done nothing wrong and anyone who has will face consequences. As food banks face increased pressure to meet unprecedented need, a new report finds almost a third of Ontarians have no plans to donate this year. Research from Nextdoor Canada and Angus Reid also shows 20% of Canadians say they are currently struggling to afford groceries, while 39% report knowing someone struggling. Nearly 2.2 million Canadians are expected to rely on food banks this month. We spoke to Daily Bread CEO Neil Hetherington about the need, and he's calling on all levels of government to do more to support housing and food insecurity. In local consumer news, the Kiddie Kobbler on St. Laurent Boulevard is closing. The iconic location has been sizing up little ones and helping them pound the pavement in comfort for decades. The owner says he is stepping away after nearly 45 years in the biz.
I want to tell everybody in the city of Ottawa how much I appreciate, and I tell them often when they're in the store that I love them like family. They've just been the most wonderful, given me the most wonderful experience. I couldn't have asked for a better career than this one, thanks to all the customers that come in and all the children that are so happy to be here.
Rob the Shoeman Kranzberg has been operating in the same location for 20 years. He says there were no buyers to take the business over when he decided to retire.
Tires are piling up on the streets. That's what's happening.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, tension around Ontario's tire recycling program. We'll tell you why some say it's spinning out of control. And our Jackie Pears is here with the first look at the forecast. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Keep in mind a special weather statement is in place for the Ottawa area, calling for 10 to 20 millimeters of rain. We'll also see a sudden drop in temperatures, which could lead to messy and slippery roads this evening. This gives you an idea. We are going to start to see the rainfall moving in overnight. In the morning, get umbrella, get your rain boots out, because it will be a wet one throughout our Friday morning. And then as the temperatures drop, we're going to see more flurries moving in. So slippery, icy conditions are on its way. This has prompted several warnings and watches throughout eastern Ontario, including a rainfall warning for parts of Brockville, including Smiths Falls as well. We'll get a closer look at this in a little bit. But overnight lows for tonight, 4 degrees. And then tomorrow, we'll see a daytime high of about 7. We'll have details and much more in just a bit. Stefan.
Thank you, Jackie. Here's what you need to know. The Ottawa Senators are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins on home ice tonight. Puck drop at the Canadian Tire Centre is scheduled for 7 p.m. A live check on traffic right now. Things are fairly moderate this hour. Some heavy congestion on the Queensway, though, in the westbound lanes from Bronson to Woodruff. Eastbound lanes are moving well. Just a bit of a backup from Nicholas to the 174 split. You're watching CTV News at 5.
You're watching CTV News at 5 with Stefan Keys.
The Bell Media building is lit up bigger and brighter this year thanks to our friends at Christmas Decor from Nutrilon. Well, the countdown is on for Christmas, and aside from last-minute shopping, people are planning their holiday meals, but we know many have said Christmas will look and feel different this year as Canadians try not to break the bank. That subject is being served up on News Talk Radio 580 CFRA today, and they're asking listeners, has your holiday food budget changed this year?
Oh, yeah, our plans have definitely changed this year. So we are keeping an even like a more quieter Christmas than the last years, even during the pandemic when we couldn't really, gather together. Christmas presents, definitely we're just sticking to Christmas stockings this year, small little items, and not breaking the bank at all.
Percy Cameron is here with more on Sounds like a familiar story from that listener.
Totally. A lot of people are switching it up this year. I heard from a lot that they are going potluck style. So rather than having the entire financial burden, plus all the cooking, like let's get real, the host is always in the kitchen all day. They're splitting it up. So one person will bring the turkey, probably the host. Another will bring the potatoes. Though, hey, those are actually the same cost as last year, the classic russet potatoes. So that person, I guess, is getting a bit of a break on the old bank account. Oh, yeah, I'll bring the scallop potatoes.
I know what I'm bringing now.
Those are cheaper. And then someone else will bring the gravy or the stuffing and what have you. I also heard from some folks that they're changing up what they serve. So maybe they're going for a ham because it's cheaper. And anybody who is thinking of doing a pot roast, well, what do you do for a living? I want to know, because pot roast is expensive.
Really?
Yeah, very expensive.
My goodness.
Beef prices are up.
What does Christmas look like at your house?
Oh my gosh, you're putting me on the spot.
Sure am.
I have my mother and my stepdad coming for Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
And I don't cook the bird, my husband does it, but I do all the sides. I've left it to the last minute. I have to figure it out tonight and tomorrow. So if you see me at the grocery store with that look of panic flashing through my eyes, that's what's happening. A lot of people, though, I think just relishing in getting together. It doesn't have to be the biggest, most expensive meal out there. Time spent together, switch it up, do the Secret Santa, and still enjoy the meal.
That's right.
You know, Secret Santa, you just buy for the one person in the family.
That's right.
And not all the...
Great food, good company.
So many godchildren. Like, think about all the kids.
I haven't started yet.
That these grandparents have to buy for 5 and 6 and 7 grandkids. Oh my.
My goodness, Christy. Thank you. You can join the conversation and leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now, watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA page. A dispute over where tens of millions of dollars of consumer recycling fees should go is one of the reasons Ontario's tire recycling program appears to be spinning out of control. As CTV's John Woodward reports, when it comes to the recycling regulations, there are calls to reinvent the wheel.
The crew from All Star Transportation and Tire Recycling is collecting scrap tires from a car dealership in Etobicoke.
We're just here trying to get the last load of the year.
But owner Scott Kavanaugh says he's not filling his truck up much these days.
We're not getting appointments to do much more, so can't afford to keep the truck on the road if we're not emptying the trucks and filling them.
Tires piling up around Ontario because something's gone wrong with the province's tire recycling system.
Tires are piling up on the streets. That's what's happening.
Many of these tires have nowhere to go, in part because one of the bigger processors, E360, closed its Barrie plant and laid off about 110 people, said CEO Danny Ardolini.
2024, we're roughly owed around, I call it $35 million. We continued on for a full year without getting paid. But then we just couldn't do it anymore, so we had to stop.
What's at stake here are the fees that consumers pay to recycle tires, fees that add up to tens of millions of dollars a year.
Consumers pay around $5 a tire to the tire producers who are supposed to use the money to pay to recycle them. But Ardolini says that's not happening. He says the problem has only gotten bigger since tire producers paid a $7.44 million settlement for falling short of targets in 2023.
Just enforce the regulation. It's as simple as that.
Ontario's recycling regulator told CTV News it's not involved in commercial disputes, but has reminded tire producers they are required to continue collecting and recycling or retreading tires from the collection system, whether targets are met or not. Those targets were reduced this year, another factor behind the piles of tires, Kavanagh says, worried about a worst-case scenario.
They catch on fire. They do a lot of damage to the environment. They're not easy to put out.
Kavanagh is launching a petition to reform regulation of the tire recycling industry and hoping something changes because he says it's just going to get worse next year. John Woodward, CTV News.
Oh, it's awesome. It is fantastic.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, turning hardships into scholarships. We introduce you to the Ottawa Mission's latest graduating class. Here's what else you need to know. National Gallery of Canada is free on Thursday nights. There's no admission tonight between 5 and 8 p.m. And you can also take in music from a live DJ creating a special ambiance as you view the art. We'll be right back. Welcome back to CTV News at 5. It's time now for another check on the weather forecast. Jackie is joining us live in studio with more. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Say goodbye to those mild temperatures because things are going to drop in terms of temperature starting tomorrow evening. But first, we're going to get through this rainfall moving through eastern Ontario. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam showcasing Parliament Hill. It's 2 degrees out right now. Parliament beautifully decorated in holiday lights for this season. We are going to start seeing some rainfall in the next couple of hours moving through, and we could see between 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, and that's just in the overnight hours. Then when we look towards tomorrow morning, well, we will likely see the heavy rainfall moving through closer to Kingston along the Seaway, and then as the temperatures start to drop throughout the day, we could see more flurries moving in. So it will be a wet, slippery, and messy commute for our final day of this work week. This has prompted a couple of watches and warnings throughout the region. There's a wind warning in Kingston and weather statement for here in Ottawa, where we could see gusts of 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. And keep in mind, when you combine that with the rain, the slush we have outside with that snowfall, rapidly falling temperatures, we could see some icy and slippery roads. So keep that in mind if you are out or you're traveling and starting your early holiday commute for this weekend. Overnight temperatures 4 degrees, 5 to 10 millimeters of rain. As we look to tomorrow, 7 degrees at 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, which will transition into flurries. Now, right now, across the region, we are sitting at temperatures between 2 degrees here in Ottawa, about 7 along the Seaway, 4 degrees in Maniwaki. And as we look, again, we did mention Friday, Saturday, it will be clear, but we'll start to see some more snowfall when we come into Sunday. Now that's it. That's a little bit our newscast for just a little bit for the weather conditions. But then when we look towards the watches and warnings moving in, keep in mind that the wind gusts will also be in place for 7 a.m. around noon and even into 3 p.m. with gusts going up to 60 kilometers per hour. Across the region, temperatures for daytime highs about 4 degrees in the Seaway, about 4 degrees in the valley. And then as we look towards the next 5 days, while we will start off with 7 degrees for our Friday, the daytime high, it will drop to -11. And then the flurries will continue on well into our Tuesday. And then note those overnight lows, -14, -13. So, Stefan, we are in for a very cold Christmas.
All right. Thank you, Jackie. Here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on ctvnewsottawa.ca. If you go to our homepage at the moment, the breaking news banner is up. It reads that retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his family have died in a plane crash in North Carolina. You can click there for all the details. And as well, OPP are reminding you that cats don't count as a person. They stop someone using the high occupancy vehicle lane on the Queensway with a cat as a passenger. Coming up.
Carpenter with 7 seconds left on the timer. Gets it to Bilka. Bilka to Gosling. They score!
The Ottawa Charge may need a recharge after several games on the road. Highlights from last night's matchup in just a few minutes. Today's cheapest gas price can be found at the Canadian Tire located at 1775 10th Line Road in Orleans. Regular gas going for $1.11.3 cents a liter.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Current temperature 2 degrees. And it's time now for a look ahead to CTV News at 6. Here's Patricia Bull.
Thanks, Steph. Here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock.
We don't believe there's anyone else involved in this, but we still have to continue collecting evidence.
A murder investigation where the daughter is accused of killing her mother. The victim, a highly respected professor who once taught at Carleton University.
The impact of today's agreement will be felt far beyond the Ring of Fire, speeding up approvals for roads, highways, bridges.
Prime Minister Mark Carney and Ontario Premier Doug Ford signed a deal today that will speed up the construction of major projects in the province. We'll have more on the memorandum of understanding in today's First Minister's meeting.
Things are expensive. Things are probably overpriced.
And with Christmas just days away, shoppers are feeling the pressure with those rising prices from gifts to holiday traditions. Many say they are cutting back, changing how they shop, and making tough choices this season. All of that and more is coming up tonight on CTV News at 6. That's right after the early edition of CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo at 5:30. Steph.
Thank you, Patricia. Now the final 5 other stories we're following.
which set out the broad parameters for the review of CUSMA.
An update today on Canada's trade relationship with the United States. The current trade deal, known as CUSMA, is up for review, and the Trump administration has given Canada an indication of major policy changes it needs to make before renegotiating. In a statement to Congress, Trump's top trade representative says Ottawa must address concerns over market access for U.S. dairy products and Canada's exports of its dairy products. Other areas of concern include provincial bans on American alcohol. As we look ahead to the new year, a number of new laws and rules are set to take effect, including one here in Ontario around pay transparency starting January 1st. Employers with more than 25 people on their payroll must post compensation ranges in all their publicly advertised job postings. They'll also be required to disclose the use of artificial intelligence in the hiring process. Also, Ontario's rules say the range can't have a gap bigger than $50,000 unless the pay range exceeds $200,000.
Oh, it's awesome. It is fantastic.
These 32 graduates have successfully completed the food services training program at the Ottawa Mission, most with jobs already lined up within the food service industry. The Mission once again proving it's more than a place to sleep or to have a meal. For many, it's also a chance at a new start.
Carpenter with 7 seconds left on the timer. Gets it to Bilka. Bilka to Gosling. They score!
The Ottawa Charge had another game on the road last night. The team in Seattle taking on the Torrent, but the tough start to their season continues as the Torrent showed dominance on the ice, beating the Charge 4-1. And many mixed emotions inside our Bell Media building today. Our news director, Peter Angioni, is moving to Toronto for a new opportunity. Over the years, Peter has led this station through crisis and triumphs. He helped steer the ship and stayed the journalistic course during the pandemic. Personally, I can let you know Peter is a visionary, and Ottawa's loss is Toronto's gain. He is staying with Bell Media, but will head up CTV Toronto and CP24. Thank you for all the years of service to our community, Peter. That is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan Keys. Be sure to join Patricia Bull for CTV News at 6. Here's the early edition of National.